Hey guys, today we're going to look at two of the new tarots. We're going to test them on Cavar, specifically the Whisper of Death, which increases penetrating damage. And then the other one is the Hangman's new tarot. And this one is going to increase damage over time. For the Hangman's tarot, it's going to increase DOT by 8%, continuous damage by 8%. If you get the special effect, then the damage over time is increased by an additional 6%. And when you are healthy, the damage over time is increased by an additional 6%. So yeah, we're gonna run this one and just see how this does with Cavar's damage over time. And then we're gonna take a look at the Whisper Tarot as well, which increases penetrating damage by 8%. If you get the special effect on this one, penetrating damage additionally increased by 5%. So you get another extra 5% penetrating damage, and when attacking an enemy in the dying state, penetrating damage is increased by an additional 5%. So yeah, you can get, if you unlock this, you get a nice 13% penetrating damage. And if the enemy is in a dying state, it's going to go up another 5%, so that can go up to 18% penetrating damage. So Cavar has penetrating damage and damage over time in his kit, so let's just see how this works with his skills. Okay, so first we're gonna just test him on the priestess just to see how much damage he does with his AoE attack. Then we'll switch to the Whisper of Death, which increases piercing damage. And his AoE attack, his ultimate, is based off of piercing damage. So we'll see how much this thing is going to increase his piercing damage by. And then we're also going to look at how we can increase his damage over time using the Hangman's Tarot. So just a quick thing about the stats. This priestess is going to increase his magic attack by 72, so just keep that in mind. The Whisper of Death has no increase in his magic attack. And then this one, the damage over time one, just increases his magic attack by 8%. So it shouldn't affect the numbers too much, but I thought I should just let you guys know about that. Okay, so we're just gonna hit these guys with his ultimate, which is based off of piercing damage, just to see how much his ultimate does. This is just piercing damage. Okay, so 13,728 that we did on those enemies. Okay, now we're gonna switch to the Whisper of Death, which is going to increase his piercing damage by 8%. And also it's going to increase it by additional 5% with the extra effect here. If the enemy is in a dying state, it increases by another 5%. So we're going to see about a 13% increase on this attack, on this next attack. It's not going to increase his magic attack by any numbers there. Okay, so let's see how much damage we do now. 14,224. So this is nice to increase damage on his ultimate skill on that AoE attack. If you want to increase that damage, then the Whisper of Death is nice to increase it because that's based off of penetrating damage. Also remember, if you mark an enemy with, let's just go back here. If you mark an enemy with the list or the roster, the ultimate move is going to deal penetrating damage vulnerability 2, so they'll take 20% extra penetrating damage. So for bosses, it's important to first mark them and then you use the ultimate skill, and then this tarot is going to further increase the amount of penetrating damage that they take from his ultimate as well. But next, let's look at the damage over time tarot, the Hangman's Tarot, because I think that one's a very interesting one for Cavar. Okay, so before we use that damage over time tarot, let's just use the Priestess Tarot just to see how much life loss damage over time these guys are taking, each one of them. Okay, so this guy takes 1170, 2340, 2340, and 2340 there. Now I'm going to equip the Hangman Tarot and we'll see how much damage over time increases. Okay, 1427, 1427, 2711, to 711. So there's a nice big increase in the DOT. So that extra 20% damage over time we're doing on each enemy actually adds up to a lot because he's hitting a lot of enemies. The number actually adds up to a lot. It may seem like it's just 20% increase, but it's on multiple enemies. So this tarot just helps Cavar to just passively like do so much damage to enemies over the course of the battle. And we haven't even marked an enemy with his list. So if you mark an enemy with the list, they're going to be marked for 3 turns. So they'll be taking, he's 3 stars. So they'll be taking 40% magic attack life loss each turn. So say for instance we mark this unit, she'll take 40% life loss for 3 turns. If we're increasing that 40% by 20%, you can see how the numbers start to add up. Next, we're just gonna mark this enemy with the list and just let him die from just lifesteal. We'll see how much damage he takes. So he took 1902 damage there. And these numbers for life loss, they can jump around a bit. But just to show you, he's gonna take another 1900, and then he gets into the death state and the assassin assassinates him. So in just 2 turns he died just from life loss. And that's just one enemy that we've marked. So Cavar can mark 2 enemies on his first turn. And over the course of 2 turns he can mark 4 enemies. So you can just imagine all of those numbers that he's just passively killing units all over the map with. And this tarot is going to increase the value of his rank 5, because I think at rank 5 he can mark 2 enemies with his list, and then an extra enemy gets marked at the end of his turn. So you're marking 3 enemies per turn, and over the course of 2 turns you can mark like 6 enemies. And this is just a free, basically a free skill. It doesn't even include the other damage he's going to do. He's just passively marking a unit with this free instant, and then he uses his trait to mark another unit. That's excluding all of his other skills. So each of these units that he marks with are going to be taking that 40% lifesteal per turn. But then we're increasing that by 20%. And I think at higher ranks, this number goes up to 60% lifesteal. So imagine 60% lifesteal over the course of 3 turns. So that's 60% plus the extra 20% from the tarot over the course of 3 turns on just one unit. And then think of it on multiple units. The amount of damage he's just passively doing, and at the end of the battle, like he will have done so much DPS for your team. So this tarot really upgrades Cavar as more of a passive damage dealer over time. I think they must have designed this tarot with Cavar in mind as well. And just to show you the difference, I just put the Priestess tarot on him just to see what we do now with life loss. So he just took 780 there. And then 1560. So the numbers do jump around a bit. But yeah, so he'll probably, I think he'll die in the next turn because he'll go into the death state. You see? But so he took 3 turns to die now. Yeah, there he dies. But with the tarot, he just died in like 2 turns. So I just love this tarot on Cavar for just letting him go on passive, and like we could just mark, you know, he doesn't even have to get that close. We could mark this guy and you know, just end your turn. He marks another guy. 2 of them are marked. So they're both gonna take 40% lifesteal over the course of 3 turns, and we're increasing that 40% by an extra 20% or so. So yeah, I just really enjoy this tarot on Cavar. So there's still a lot to learn, and people are experimenting with the tarots, coming up with lots of numbers and things, but I think it's important to understand like how you want to play Cavar, what you want to get out of the tarot. So again, this the piercing damage tarot, the Whisper of Death tarot is good for his like ultimate and doing extra piercing damage. It really boosts his ultimate and things like that. But in terms of if you want to get that just Cavar marking enemies and slowly killing the enemies, I really think that this tarot really boosts Cavar a lot. But it just depends on what playing style and things like that. And more experimenting, a lot more experimenting to be done. But I always felt like Cavar, he was missing a tarot. Like there wasn't a specific tarot for him, and so maybe they designed these tarots with him in mind. I'm not sure. That's gonna be all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.